Hello everyone, and welcome to another What If scenario. In today's video, we're going to be going over a pretty commonly asked question, and that is, what if Yamcha actually survived the Saibamen fight? But before we move on with the video and with the discussion, I want to introduce the guest on my channel. So how are you doing today, Reel to Reel?
What's up, Scouter? Always good to be here, man. Especially with these what if stuff. This is my bread and butter. So yeah, no. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, and you always introduce a really interesting perspective, so that's one of the reasons why I like having you back on for these what if scenarios. But anyways, imagine this scenario, real. So Yamcha actually takes out the Saibamen like he originally said he was going to, and instead of him dying, like how he did, he actually survives. So Nappa powers up, and maybe he targets Yamcha or Ten Shinhan like he originally did at the first time that they fought, in the timeline that we know anyway. But what do you think would happen after Nappa powered up?
So Nappa's powering up the entire Z Fighter Force, I guess. We got Chaozu, Tenshinhan, Piccolo, Gohan, Yamcha, and Krillin, right? Let's see. Nappa is charging up. Obviously, at this point, I think Yamcha's still at a high. Just being completely honest about this. So right now, Yamcha's still like a basic high. He's just taken out all of these Cybermen. People, these little things that are just as strong as Raditz. He's proven himself in that regard. He probably really could have done this if he wasn't kind of put off guard of actually taking them all out, or the guy just basically jumping on and killing him. So I really think that Yamcha, being kind of full of himself, and he really is he's kind of a thick-headed type of guy. He would have tried to fight Nappa alone at first, if not with like maybe Krillin and Tenshinhan's help, or Piccolo. I really think they would have attacked him individually instead of attacking him full on, at least at first, but even before Nappa powered up, because at that point they probably were really cocky, even though they probably, since that Nappa was stronger, they probably couldn't see just how strong he was. And I'm pretty sure, even though they don't necessarily hide their power levels the same way, their powering up works in the same way, where they can take their energy and make it, I guess, stronger, or their attacks are stronger than their actual power levels. So he wouldn't have actually known. I think he would have still died. He would have been the first victim, and then Chaozu, and then Tenshinhan, and then basically works out as much as it usually did. I mean, just being completely honest, his involvement probably wouldn't have saved anyone or done anything. But if they had attacked him together, that's a whole other story, man.
Yeah, I mean, if Yamcha was the one to take the command from Piccolo to fire the blast at Nappa instead of Gohan whenever they were trying to catch him off guard, maybe that's how Yamcha or even someone else could be useful in that situation. But I do agree with you that Yamcha would probably be the first one to be taken out, because I see Nappa getting pissed off that Yamcha killed all the Saibamen and heading towards him first. Because I don't know what made Nappa select Ten Shinhan, but, I mean, whatever reason that he did, he did. But I think that Nappa would have a legitimate reason to actually go after Yamcha for killing all the Saibamen. And I think that he would get taken out in one punch, basically. Like, kind of like how Genkai was by Toguro.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I can see what you mean. Like, the only cool thing I think would actually come from this is, I know it didn't necessarily exhaust Krillin to the point where he was useless in a fight, but he did take out, like, what was it, 6 Cybermen at once?
He took out 4.
Four Cybermen at once. And yeah, like, that had to have been pretty exhausting, considering how powerful each and every single one of them are compared to how powerful they were, all of them were at that potential point. So obviously, Krillin not putting that much effort and that much anger into a one particular attack, he might have been a little bit more useful, and thus, I guess they might have been a little bit better off when it comes to getting Nappa off guard. And like you said, when Piccolo told Gohan to basically take Nappa out when they had him off guard and he was flying down, maybe if that was Yamcha, then they could have had a chance, or maybe even Chen Shinhan if Yamcha was the first one to go, but I don't necessarily agree with that. The reason that Gohan probably could have done it is not only Gohan's like potential at that time, he could have taken out Nappa, but he but the main point is like him and Piccolo were the strongest people on Earth outside of the Saiyans. Like Shinhan, Yamcha, Chaozu, and Krillin were close, but they weren't as strong. And they made a big point about saying that before they actually started fighting. So I don't see, even if like they had switched out places with Gohan with Tenshinhan or Yamcha, just if Yamcha was still alive, that that attack would have actually taken out Nappa. They probably would have had like a uplifting spirit type of thing because, you know, you hit him, he disappears into the smoke and everything. And then after all's said and done, the same way when Chaozu takes out himself is, well, he's still standing and he like doesn't have a scratch on him and we're crap. It was like crap. We're screwed. So the real fact of the matter is it's just not, it's an interesting thought considering just how easily he was taken out just to kind of prove a point. But he's just as much of a meme as he was. I mean, he's still useless in that fight, unfortunately, because the way it was written, the way Nappa and Vegeta are written in that particular arc is leagues and bounds above any of the people they were fighting to begin with until Goku shows up.
Yep, so I mean, as much as we might like Yamcha, unfortunately his presence in the Nappa fight doesn't really make too much of a difference.
No, unfortunately. I understand where people come from with that. Like, I would want to see Yamcha. I mean, I feel like he was picked on a lot. He was picked on he was picked on in Dragon Ball. He was picked on in Dragon Ball Z. And even though he's a very strong person, as people in this community have talked about at length, and I know you've also talked about at length about how strong Yamcha could be in any particular arc, he gets really crapped on because he was always, basically from the start, just somebody who never could achieve anything or never amount to much, and always just kind of a jumping off point or some kind of slapstick type of comedy character. And Dragon Ball Super's really grabbed that and forced it down our throats that we know y'all like him because he's a meme at this point. So he's a meme, instead of actually giving him any time to shine. So we're actually just gonna have to wait and see whether or not anything actually happens with him coming up. But just in terms of that particular moment in history for Dragon Ball, unless you did what they're doing right now with the What If mangas, where he literally goes to Namek, has his potential unlocked and all that other stuff, like, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, let us know, guys, if there's anything that we missed, though. But do you have anything else that you wanted to add to this What If, Mark?
Well, I want to get your opinion on this. What are your thoughts? Do you think that even though they train together, Ten Shinhan is, and not so much Chaozu, but more so Ten Shinhan is very much of a loner when it comes to fighting. I mean, even he fought alone for the most part when it came to Nappa. And I was wondering whether or not if Yamcha had won, would Yamcha and Ten Shinhan actually fought Nappa together? And would that make a difference? Or would that even be something that we'd want to see? Because those two had somewhat of a rivalry in Dragon Ball. It would have been kind of cool to see them fight together in such a way.
I do think so, too, because they both seem like yin and yang in a way.
Yeah.
So I would have actually liked to see Yamcha and Ten Shinhan team up. Kind of like if Yamcha and Ten Shinhan were to survive and travel over to the Namek arc. I'm sure everyone would want to see a fight between them and Berter and Jace.
Oh, that's actually an awesome idea. I don't think, like I said, I think, yeah, like if they didn't fight, or if they fought in that, they would probably still die. But that's awesome. Yeah, it would have been actually kind of cool to see Ten Shinhan and Yamcha in the Namek arc and have them interact with everyone, especially when it came to the Ginyu Force. I mean, just kind of equaling the playing field to the much that you don't have to get rid of someone like Ginyu, and you have like a 5-on-5 fight match between those guys. Would be pretty cool.
Yes, it would. But that's another video for another day.
Exactly.
But is there anything else you wanted to ask me or add to this?
No, I think I kind of covered it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. Well, guys, I know that this was kind of a brief what if scenario and that we kind of went off topic a little bit talking about other things, but we basically can't really use mental gymnastics to somehow make Yamcha better than what he actually was in that arc, even if he were to survive the Saibamen fight. But I mean, let us know if there are any ideas that you have that maybe we missed. Comment section. I know that there are other what ifs that go way more into depth into this scenario, but like I was saying before, there are a lot of mental gymnastics that go into it. But like I was saying before, let us know what you thought of the video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, thank you for watching, and have a great day, everyone.